Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners with Jim Misiura. Today we're going to tie a bluegill wet fly. This is going to be a black and yellow. The hook that I have in the vise, this is a size 12. This is just a general purpose hook. I like it because it has a nice big eye on there. And it's actually a heavy hook, so for wet flies you want a heavier hook. I'm going to use, this is 6/0 yellow thread. This is pre-waxed. This thread is something that you would get in a beginner fly tying kit. And we're going to start the thread behind the eye, and we're going to bring that back to where the barb was. Kind of looks like there's a little bit of barb there still, but I did break them off. And we're going to stop right there where it hangs at the barb. Now we're going to start with a tail. And for the tail, I'm going to use, this is a fancy feather from the craft store. These are really cheap, but it is a goose quill dyed yellow. And I'm going to use just a small slip of it. And I want that tail to be about half the length of the hook shank. Just going to hold that there. Take a loose loop, pull it straight down. You see, and it should be nice and sideways now because that front popped up. There we go. Now I'm going to tie in the rib. And for the rib, I'm going to use a medium fine gold wire. And about 3 wraps will do it. Now I'm going to use a Herl chenille, Peacock Herl chenille. And I'm going to tie that in. You can use Peacock Herl. And then I'm going to wrap everything forward. Break that off. And stop your thread about 1 eye length from the eye of the hook. Now I'm going to take my Herl chenille and I'm going to wrap this forward. If you have trouble with your Herl breaking, it might be a good idea to buy this. This is actually, here is the spool, just Herl chenille, UTC black. We're going to wrap that all the way up. Couple little spaces in there. That's for me rubbing my fingers on it when it was longer. And we're going to secure that. Just give it 3 wraps on top. There's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. In front, blocking it in. Go ahead and trim that off. Now we're going to take our rib, we're going to counter wrap this, being the opposite direction you wrap your thread. And we're going to palmer this, meaning open spaces. Make that a little bit wider there. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take your nail clippers and trim that off nice and close. Now I'm going to take a black hackle. This is just a barnyard hackle. And I'm going to give it the crew cut. I'm going to get just above the fluff. Trim that stem off. I'm only going to trim down about maybe 5 or 6 on each side. You don't need much. Anywhere from 3 to 6 is fine. Now your thread has something to grab onto. We're going to tie this in with the concave side to the shank. Then we're going to take our hackle pliers and we're going to wrap this. I like to stroke the hackles towards the rear as I'm going. 2, 3. Oh, slipped out of the hackle pliers. Let's give that one another one. Try again. Once, twice, 3 times. Now when you go to wrap, try to keep that hackle at a 90-degree, your hackle pliers at 90 degrees to the hook shank. And then we'll put 2 or 3 wraps in front. And holding the hackle at a 90 degree from the hook shank kind of helps to eliminate this. Would be a lot worse if you held it straight out. Now you can just grab everything, pull everything to the rear. Let me shorten my thread there. Come back on the hackle about 1 thread width. Get rid of that piece. Now for the wing, I'm going to take a pair of the yellow Goose quill slips. I'm just going to hold them together and cut them at the same time. And that will give us a pair that are matched and the same width. We want them to go just slightly into the tail, or even the length of the tail is fine. Take a loose loop, pull it straight down. You can see those fronts lift. Give it a couple extras. We'll go ahead and trim off the excess. And we'll clean up the head. Take our whip finish. Get rid of that thread. Take a little bit of head cement. Clean your brush off pretty good. And here we have a black and yellow bluegill fly. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.